Thanks very much, Frank. Last but not least is Mr. Steve Buckley. Now, Steve made the mistake of not giving me a bio, and he told me to make something up, which I really am not making this up. This is the absolute truth. Steve is originally from Nevada, Area 51, Building 5. Because with alien strength, he takes his job so seriously. Steve's been in the advocacy business for some time. He's currently the executive director of Trails for Illinois, and we're lucky to have him here today. Steve?
Live long, prosper. Does this count towards my 10 minutes?
Yes, it does. No.
Excellent. Okay. The trail I'm going to talk about today is the Calsac Trail, south suburbs of Chicago. It runs from Lamont in the southwest portion of the region, eastward to the Indiana line, tiny village of Burnham there on the screen. 26 miles long. It's a big freaking trail. We measure in acres these days because open space people seem to respond more favorably when you talk about trails in acres. So, did the calculations on Google, 95 acres. Pretty big park, right? Good stuff. Now, this corridor here is made up of, I don't know, as diverse community set as you could have. You have very wealthy, very white communities on the western end of the trail, minority communities, and much less income on the east end. What that means is these towns don't like each other very much, usually. And the corridor is also polluted, and it's neglected, and there's signs posted that say, "Dear God, don't get close to the water. Who knows what will happen." This is actually from 1972, I think, the year before the Clean Water Act passed, and that's toxic stuff pouring in from the factories along the waterway. This guy is sampling frozen benzene that used to form on the water in the winter. That's an oil storage facility near Blue Island that used to be there. Okay, so how do you build a trail along a corridor where people don't like each other and it's polluted? And sometimes barges catch on fire and crash into bridges, right? Nightmare. Well, one, you need a map, okay? The first step that I and my colleagues did, I was working at the Chicago Bicycle Federation at the time, is we need a map. And my colleague at the time was 6'8" and 300 pounds. His name was Keith. And we went to the guy who makes maps. And he said, "Hey, we need you to draw a red line along this waterway." And he goes, "Look forward." My friend says, "Don't worry about it, just make the map." And he did. And we got so much mileage out of this map. So this is the first piece of any kind of promotion material ever created for the Calsac Trail. This is back in 2004, late 2004. Just a line on a map. But we show it everywhere. Every conversation we had with mayors, with other organizations working in the area, with legislators, potential future donors, we brought a map. And what was the first question everyone had when we showed them this dotted line? Guess. Shout it out.
Where are we? You pay for it.
Nice. The question we always had to ask, first off, is, where do I go to write it? Right? Seeing the map made them think it was done. And that was funny, but my God, that was valuable. Because already they're imagining the trail being along that corridor. So half our battle was won just by drawing this line along this waterway. So we used this map well beyond it became attached to reality at all. The alignment's significantly different than what we first showed. But it was important, it was cheap. The second thing you have to do is you have to eat pizza. And then you repeat. You eat more pizza. At lunch. You do it at lunch because that's when people can come to meetings. By people, I mean people who work for the towns, the agencies that you need help from to help build your trail. So this guy on your, go back. The guy on your left, who looks incredibly dorky in a helmet, Mark Purcell, he's not here, right? Cool. He was the Parks and Rec director of Palos Heights at the time. And when it was actually a call from his office to me to come talk to him and some of his recreation committee about putting a trail along the waterway. And Mark's brilliant contribution to this trail was, let's have monthly meetings at lunch, and I'll pop for pizza. And we cast that net of invitations really broadly. He invited all the other agencies along the corridor, the towns and other park districts, and we opened up invitations to the public. And so at noon, once a month, at his facilities, we'd all gather, and holy cow, from the beginning we had 40 or 50 people showing up. Because hey, free pizza, right? And it was easy for people who work on stuff like this to get away because it was lunchtime. And out of those meetings grew two groups. One, the Friends of the Cal-Sag Trail, who've gone on to be a nonprofit, and they raise money and promote the trail. And the Cal-Sag Trail Coalition, which is the agencies who actually have to receive the grants from the federal government, have to sign the work orders and get the easements and things like that. But both groups continue to meet monthly. Both meetings are open to the public. And it was because of Mark and his insight that getting together regularly equals progress. Okay, the third thing you have to do is you have to make stuff up. We had nothing, like I said, but a map and a polluted corridor and some pizza. So we took our map and we were trying to figure out a way to articulate the benefits of this trail. And nobody had numbers for trails back then. And I called Frankfurt, the town of Frankfurt, who has the Old Point Road Trail running through it. They've done a wonderful job of orienting their storefronts toward the trail, putting a park in, programming that with farmers and stuff. They get tons of value out of this trail. So I called up their Chamber of Commerce and said, how much is that trail worth, do you think? And they said, a lot. I go, well, what does that mean? They said, we don't know. So I called the Economic Development Director for Frankfurt and asked her the same question. And she said, it's worth a lot. I said, like, how much? She said, we don't know. So I said, it's worth millions. And that's what I put in this map. The Old Point Road Trail in the far south suburbs has created millions of dollars of new wealth for the communities along it. Right? I didn't know. Everyone knew it was doing something. But we also went and got images to kind of support this vision of what the Cal-Sag could be. So Carl Johnson, one of the founders of the big design firm JJR, did these watercolors for us like 3 weeks before he died. So we're really blessed to have them. But these are the same area like guys Anthony Benzine, right? You know, this is what Carl's vision and his brush painted for us. These beautiful images that are light and airy. We have these renderings of transformation that another engineering firm donated, Short Elliott Henderson, out of the Munster office. So we took these polluted areas and unused corridors and re-envisioned them as active trail with lots of people, things, and made it look really attractive. And this kind of stuff, again, it helped like reinforce this idea that this corridor could be something different, it could be better. And that's how we got buy-in and got people to see this corridor differently. We also pretended to have celebrity endorsement. This is Ed Begley Jr. I ran into him at a parade, and it was a hot day, and he was really sweaty, and he was talking about having to get back on the plane. So I was like, I've got a dry t-shirt you can wear. And so he put it on, and I took the picture, and then he talked about how Ed Begley is so down with the Cal-Sag Trail. Right? You take every opportunity, man. Also, you hitch it to a bigger idea than your trail. We heard it with Mr. Ingersoll earlier, when we talked about the Illinois Bike Plan, how its focus was on economic development and health and the environment. That's the triple bottom line, my friends. And we grabbed this idea from Medical Mile in Little Rock, Arkansas early on, because it was a way for us to cast this trail as something more than just a trail. And it gave us a way to have conversations with all sorts of different people. Economic development directors, real estate developers, the environmental crowd, which is really, really powerful and has tons of money in the Chicago area, but also health and wellness. We were able to articulate what it's going to do for quality of life. And so we really pushed this message from the beginning. Our first brochure, our websites, our blogs, are always very heavy on the triple bottom line idea. We went boating. Go boating. I highly recommend it. We took people who were trying to convince that the trail was viable and that this corridor was worth looking at with new eyes. We got them on a boat on the waterway. All these people have driven over this canal for years, barely acknowledging it. And if they did, it was because, somebody found bodies floating in it or something. But by getting them in a boat and going up and down that waterway, it looked really different. Suddenly it looked like a river. Suddenly they're envisioning a river trail. And my goodness, what a powerful thing. By the way, we had President Obama's chief of staff at the time out of the Chicago office on the boat with us. Yeah, how cool is that? Of course, that was before he was president. Put your kid in photos. Use the resources you have at hand, okay? We needed pictures of families and people having fun and enjoying this trail. And it was easiest just to put my kid in front of the camera. So people who follow the Caltech Trail for years got to watch her kind of grow up. I highly recommend get them in photos early before they grow up and become surly. Okay, so Caltech Trail is 24 miles funded, 2 miles to go. This is a project that had no life before December 2004. It's the fastest developed regional urban trail in this country ever. Groundbreaking is June 7th, 2014, full completion, 2016. Oh, did I say 2 miles to go? Because on Saturday, the last 2 miles through the town of Riverdale were funded. It includes this big, bad, beautiful bike ped bridge over CSX rail yard along Halstead Avenue. We're really excited. Somebody's local match. We have about half of the $4.5 million local match raised. We're really excited about raising the rest because funders always seem to come out when ribbon cutting is nigh. So we look forward to that. Please come to the groundbreaking June 7th, 2014 in Alsip, Illinois. Thank you very much.